Have you ridden the cycle of starting and stopping exercise? Or maybe you're just trying to work your way up to getting started. Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Kampf, and I'm going to teach you how to be consistent with exercise. Now, regardless of where you are, there are some very important behavioral principles that you need to be aware of if you want to stay consistent with exercise. Now, first, let's talk about that path. The path starts with a positive intention to exercise. Without this, you won't get going, meaning you have to want to exercise. Not having this positive intention would be like not wanting to go to the movies and then finding yourself at the theater. It's just not going to happen. So having a positive intention is really what's called a precondition for action. Now, having this positive intention is vital to getting started, but it doesn't mean that you'll act all the time. And this is where most people get tripped up. They don't use a series of extremely important behavior change techniques. Now, these techniques are broadly called self-regulation techniques. And this is just another way of saying we plan, we pay attention to, and we monitor our behavior. So if you do have a positive intention to exercise, you have the first step down. We supplement these intentions with what's called self-regulation tactics. We plan and we self-monitor. Now, I ask people this all the time. Do you put exercise into your calendar and then treat it like it's an appointment? Now, I typically get a resounding barrage of no's in my video chats. Then in follow-up sessions, I ask people if they did it, if they put it in their calendar, and they always tell me it made a huge difference. In fact, I've actually published several research papers on this exact topic. So planning is the most important thing you can do to supplement your good intentions. So make sure you put exercise in your calendar and treat it just like it's an appointment. This gives us a very important thing. It gives us a prompt. Now, if we don't act when that prompt comes around, we can run a proper diagnosis and then ask ourselves what got in the way. But before we even address this, I want to make behavior change as easy as possible. Once the prompt to exercise comes along, one of two things will happen. You'll act or you won't act. Action happens when the task demand is not higher than your current level of motivation. Let's say I told you to go walk for 5 miles. So there's your prompt, but let's say you weren't that motivated. That prompt is going to fail. With this in mind, you have two dials that you can turn. You can boost your motivation, or you can make the task easier. Most people try to crank up that motivation dial to increase your motivation rather than making the task easier. I can't count the number of people who have told me that they have what's called this all or nothing mentality for exercise. These people try to go from not exercising to exercising 5 times per week for an hour. This is like building a house on sand. The foundation here is no good. People that have this all or nothing mentality always try to crank up the motivation dial higher and higher, but that just can't work in the long run. Your first goal should be to make the behavior a habit. So don't worry about the duration, don't worry about the intensity. Just get used to acting when the prompt comes around. So we have the prompt in place, and if you're not motivated, just make the task easier. Don't walk for 5 miles, walk for half a mile. Don't lift weights for an hour, do it for 10 minutes. Always match your task demand to how motivated you are rather than always trying to boost your motivation. Now, we're going to use these steps to get going, but we also need to think about the things that influence us, which is going to include our thoughts, our attitudes, our beliefs, even other people, as well as the environment that we live in. Because if these things are not working for us, it doesn't matter how good your intentions are. We'll cover this in another video, but for now, use these tactics that I've covered, and please be sure to subscribe to this channel to get alerted for the next video.